Hey guys, Mike here. So, but what a day in the market, especially for tech. A lot of things breaking out. Some we talked about yesterday, reached some key levels. And one thing we're going to have to get used to starting now, really, once he's sworn in, is President Trump's tweets. Remember, President Biden ain't got no kind of power when it comes to, I don't know if he tweets or not. I don't pay attention to him if he does. But there's no sway in what he tweets, right? But President Trump and Elon Musk, they tweet a lot, okay? And so it was a couple of tweets came through today, and you saw some big moves up and down the stocks just based off these tweets. Algo's kicking in, the dollar's flying down, then it flies back up. And so we're going to go into all that right there. It's just something we got to get used to, right? Because it's going to be volatile. Someone's going to be good. Some you're going to hate, some you're going to love. If you're on the right side of it, you're going to love it. If it costs you money, you're probably going to be very upset if you're in a trade and it costs you money. But we're going to go through a bunch of different charts. Great to see semis finally start. Actually, not finally, we've been talking about for a while, but really starting to ramp up, right? Taiwan Semiconductors all-time new highs, and we'll go through a bunch of those. Nvidia got going today. But, understand, for those out there who always wonder, like, how in the world is this economy still holding up? Because remember, we're 70% services. Okay, I like to present this data to you when I get it. We had final services PMI for December. Again, once 2023 hit, this went out of contraction, so it's still holding up. Manufacturing, not so much, but when your economy is 70% services, because we outsource pretty much everything. Now, you saw the dollar make some crazy little moves this morning, especially early on, even before I even got up. But like 6 a.m. hit, and this thing just dropped. And there was some news coming out from Trump and his team saying, well, maybe we're going to do targeted tariffs, and it's not going to be as much as you think. And all of a sudden, he come out around 8, 9, and denied that. Said, nope, not quite. And then it shot back up. But of course, this trend line, this magical trend line right here, it hit down there when he sent that tweet out. Love how that works. So still holding that. Again, it's breaking these highs over here. We'll see if it's going to continue its march up to that trend line right there. It's around like 113, I believe it is. That's what we'll have to see. And a lot of it will depend on tariffs and stuff, right? If it's a lot, great. If it's more targeted and the market don't see it as that big a deal, maybe you don't see the dollar going crazy. So that's what we're going to find out. But just get ready for the tweets and everything. Now, looking at S&P, we talked about this last night, which level we're going to achieve. We stayed above the 50, above the FOMC anchor VWAP right there, filled half this gap right here. It was a big move up overnight, especially when 6 a.m. hit and the dollar dropped. And obviously the RSI is above 50. MACD's trying to curl up, stay above 0, so bulls can stay in charge. And looking at the spot here, you can see it bounced right here off the 50 fib when it started to retrace, filled half the gap after the gap up this morning, as we can see. And so, looking at what's going to happen here is pretty simple. You draw a line and say, well, we're either going right here tomorrow over 600, fill the rest of this gap, then probably get hung up at around like the 601, 60150 mark, or we'll draw a line here and say, nope, we're going to come back down. We're going to fill the rest of this gap right here, stop hopefully around 592.21 if bulls are still in charge, and then start to head back up. So just watch for that to play out on SPY right here. When you look over, the last 10 minutes, it's going to be interesting to see what they do overnight, because the last 10 minutes, that thing went up 0.5% on NQ. What a quick shot up, as you can see right there, just in 10 minutes. And that's to the right. That's what they keep doing as I'm recording this right here. So we'll see what they do overnight. A lot of the, obviously the big moves have been happening overnight, right? We get these huge gap ups in the morning, and then either trade sideways, come down, grab some liquidity, move back up. And so we'll see what they do this time. IWM simple, we talked about it, 226.79, where we get rejected, 226.79. Come down, fill the gap that it left there in the morning, stopped right there. So you have to get over that. That's the way it is. It's, check mark is the fact is it is setting higher lows. That is a higher high, so that's good, right? And so it's above the FOMC anchor VWAP. So it's plus, plus, and plus. We'll see which one of these trend line holds. I'm going to draw this in there anyways for the heck of it, see if it's going to bounce from there. And then, but once we get above 226.79, maybe even get a come back down and retest it to really turn it into support, then we can get moving and everything. It is coming to a huge fair value gap. So we'll see how this one goes. You look at the RSI, this one moves more off momentum as we showed in the past and stuff. And we'll pull up the stochastic and everything. And you can see, looking on a short-term time frame on the hourly, that's turning over right there. You haven't got a bearish MACD cross in the shorter-term time frames. On the daily, though, the RSI is trying to get above 50 right there. MACD is trying to get a bullish MACD cross, and stochastics obviously moving up on the daily. So weekly, got a weekly bullish MACD cross. You want to get this, stochastic RSI cross, excuse me, not a MACD cross. but you want to get that above, at least above 25, 30, somewhere in there to really get going. So, let's see what happens at the main level. That's really what you're looking for, is that big 226 level to be broken above. Now, looking over here, SMH talked about yesterday, finally got big move up on semis. And so this is a big beneficiary. It's the biggest weighting is Nvidia. Nvidia had a really big day today, which we'll talk about that. And so again, nice move up. Again, that gap right there will get filled if Nvidia and Semi continue to move up. And you can definitely see that one heading up to 270 right there. Again, it could come down and refill the gap. We get some cool off period here. That trend line, that area around 250, 252 needs to hold as support. And then we move over, we'll go into SOXX, SOX. This one's different because Nvidia is not some huge weight or anything in there, but this one had a nice move up as well, filled that gap to the left. And I mean, you can clearly see the levels on this. We'll pull up a volume range, volume profile. But once it gets above that, you can see where it's heading, right? I mean, 238, 239, somewhere there would be a nice target. Smaller levels, 234, 235. And so, again, we'll see if this bullishness continues. Again, some of them breaking out to all-time new highs, which is a good thing. And when you pull up here, SMH, we'll pull up the VRVP on that one too. Just kind of take a look at it, and you can see like that resistance gets a whole lot less. Okay, and so that's kind of where it stopped. But if it continues to move up, that's what I'm saying. It can move up quickly if the bullish flow continues into this sector. We've been waiting on it for a while, seeing it slowly matriculate, and now here we are. Nvidia, you see that, I mean, it was like, I think it was 75 cents or something away from all-time highs. You can see what was going on. Here's the call flow, the call sweeps rolling in. A lot of February, a lot of January 17th call sweeps rolling in, millions of dollars worth. So no surprise, this was the winner of the day as it moved up. And there was other semis that were even up bigger than this. I mean, there was some of them up huge. We'll go through and touch on each one of them. But when you look at this, one thing I already know you're going to start hearing about, I can tell you right now, that's 3 big days for it, or 2 big days, I should say, some big gaps left, is if you look at that, some people are going to say, well, it's either going to break through that all-time high, or this is a double top. And we've heard this one before, right? And so I'm just putting it out there because I have to, because there it is. Do I think it's a double top? Who knows? That's what, you know me. I don't believe in panicking. I don't believe in getting too overexcited. I just play level to level, and it's very simple. You want 145.30 to hold somewhere in that range, 145.69. And then, I'd like to see it come back down to that to create better structure. That's what I would like to see. I don't mean it's going to happen. But again, that's going to be in play until you see it break above that all-time high with some convincing, I guess you could say. But again, just watch the levels. 145, 141.24 would be another one to watch. And then, of course, above is all-time high. So those are the levels you just want to watch, see how it plays out. I mean, it was a big move today, and not just on Nvidia either. And when we pull our fibs up, you can see where it stopped at. I had these in there a long time ago. The 1.618 is where it stopped and got rejected. But if we just pull some fib extensions in here, you can see clearly the levels that could go to 154.78, 158.20 will be the next levels higher to watch on Nvidia. Then moving over to Tesla, again, they can't move together, can they? So here we go. This level right here is key. 427.24. If we can get above that, turn that into support, obviously you'll start moving with better market structure to the upside. It got rejected now 1, 2, 3 times from that level, which also has to be a fib level right there. And so if you can get through that, obviously, then you can start moving higher, but it got rejected for a 3rd time now. So do not be surprised. And what you're seeing is what? Lower highs, lower lows on the daily. And so it's not in a perfect channel down, but clearly if you decide to put a channel on that, you can say, yes, that is a downtrend for now as Nvidia has started to take off. I don't think it's a coincidence. Since Nvidia started to move, Tesla has not. Same thing when Tesla was moving, Nvidia was not. And so we're back at this. And so again, you're just watching to see that 374.39 gets broken, because that means you'll probably come down to 0.79 fib, and that is another lower low on the daily. That's what you're kind of wanting to avoid if you're a Tesla bull for now, or maybe you like it because you can buy it cheaper. But you can clearly see that is a down channel for now until proven otherwise, until it gets above that 0.382 fib, that level we talked about, to start setting bullish market structure in place. And so we'll set a trend line here. As you can see, we got multiple rejections off this trend line right here. So when it gets above that and you start seeing it with Tesla, it's very simple. You start seeing call sweeps flow in. It has those crazy 8% days like it did on Friday. That's just the way Tesla moves. That's just how it works. And I'm hoping at some point in time this year that Tesla and NVIDIA can move up more than just one day at a time, but actually start putting together like they used to. They used to move up together. But once Nvidia became Nvidia, they just got the opposite flows going on. So it's almost like the option market can only afford to push one up or something. It's kind of crazy. But so again, you know where you want to do at the 0.79 fib. You will also have that 50 moving average there, as well as where we got rejected 3 times right there. You turn that into official support. And so, hey, you can get Tesla even cheaper at that level. So that would be the level to watch. Just because we want it to get there doesn't mean it's going to get there. Just watch Nvidia's flow, and they'll probably tell you what's going to happen with Tesla. Now, you can see with the semis, man, I mean, some of them are up way bigger than Nvidia. I mean, you got ASML, huge day, almost 8% up on the day right there. You can see it kind of came into this trend line right here. It's closed right at it. So we'll see if that continues. ARM up 5%. MU, which has been absolutely just nuked, right? After earnings and stuff, up 10% right there. It's made up a lot of that gap, as you can see. So we'll see if this continues again. If it continues to move up, because it's not far from it, where that level we're talking about, the shaded area around between 110, so like 115, it's been rejected 3 times. So if it does get back up there, do we get a quadruple rejection is going to be the key. But if it ever breaks that level, that's going to be extremely powerful, okay? Now, Taiwan Semiconductor is this one right here. We've been talking for a while. Finally, after multiple rejections, all-time new high. So clap for Taiwan Semiconductor. Good job there, Taiwan. And it stopped at the 1.5 fib. Above that, it's around 228.57 at the 1.618 fib. You know, we'll try to hold at least 215.75, and now we'll get some of that gap fill right there. Don't need to break 212 though. That's really key on Taiwan Semiconductors. You know, even AMD we talked about yesterday got some love right here. Out of all of them, but we'll see if it can hold it. Even SMCI got love. I mean, all of them. Dell, you look at it. Avgo is the most disappointing, only up almost 2% right there. What's it doing? It's wedging. You can clearly see multiple rejections. I look at that and go, yep, here's a trend line on multiple rejections right there. Boom. And so down below, same thing. So this right here is wedging right now. The way the flow is going, it looks like it's going to be moving up. But again, we'll go ahead and play it, you know, day by day on this one. We talked about Google yesterday. It broke out of that triangle pattern. Meta, this one right here, you can clearly see. I mean, they were flowing into this one like crazy, man. Again, it stopped at that fib. Very close to a new all-time highs on this one. Actually, I can extend this trend line down. This trend line has been pretty much money for a while now, as you can see going back. Anytime it hits it, it bounces. And so they're loving Meta right now. Again, we'll take us back to September. And so they're loving Meta. Don't be surprised if this absolutely gets to a new all-time high, as long as obviously things stay positive in the market, looking for a high, which it'll get to. You can see it lines up with that fib, that trend line, right around 655 to 658. If we continue the bullishness up, going here and looking at Palantir. A lot of people blame Tesla being down and Palantir on Jim Cramer. For those who don't know, he came out on Sunday night and said, staying up late, trying to, you know, basically going to be buying Palantir and all this good stuff. And it's kind of this Jim Cramer effect. When he tweets something, the algos do the exact opposite. And right now, what you're looking at is that's a high, that's a low, that's a lower high right here. And so what you don't want to do is come down and break that low to create another lower low on the daily. Okay, that's what you don't want to do. And I mean, I don't care if it does it or not, but when I look at this, what I'm looking for is I'll draw some fibs in here and see where I think the low would be. And if we just do a retracement from the swing low to the swing high, that tells me that this will probably end up, if it does come lower, that's an if Palantirians or whatever they call themselves don't step in, look right around like 71.18, somewhere there. I'm going to move this up just to see if it actually happens or not, but we'll see. Again, every time it seems to sell down, they come charging back in on this thing. So we'll see if that's the case or not. If we do get a lower and low, R just holds that trend line and continues to melt its way right on up. Because, you know, usually when it starts to come down, there's a contract announced or something else, or maybe Trump will tweet something or whatever. And so you can look at the momentum indicators. And you can see right here, like the weekly time frame starting to break that moving average right there on the RSI. MACD looks like it's trying to curl over on the larger time frames. Again, enormous move right here. Daily, again, it's above the 50 for the RSI. MACD has got a bearish cross on it. And so we'll see if this is going to hold or not. Again, blame Jim Cramer. That's what everybody on Twitter is doing right now. PayPal, watch this one. It's coming into this trend line, which has been resistance in the last 4 times it's hit it, was support. And so we'll see if it finally breaks through. RSI above 50, above that moving average. It's like you're going to get a bullish MACD cross right there. If it does, look for these levels right here. The fib at 791.51. and then 93.43. And if it finally does, I mean, again, this is one of those ones that seems to take forever to make moves and everything. Watch Snow as well. You remember it got crushed on earnings. Got rejected on these fibs right here, coming down, hitting this trend line, which goes back to 2022, and getting a bounce. And we'll see if it's just setting a lower high before moving down even more into that gap, or we're actually going to start to see this company start to move back up. Again, that was an enormous move off of earnings, so it does have to digest it. A lot of times you'll get a 50% retracement back in there sometimes, but we'll see. Just watch it carefully. If you're in the snow or if you're looking to get a position, we'll see what happens on this one. Looking pretty good, though, that it held that trend line. If that trend line breaks, see you later. Going to be feeling a lot of that gap because, again, that's a 2-year trend line. But right now it's holding, so that's a good thing. Just look for it to get above the 0.5 fib, right around like 173, I believe it is. Now, looking at data for tomorrow, we do have ISM services PMI. JOLTS job openings. This will create absolute volatility for sure. That's the way it's going to be. And so hopefully you guys got something out of it. Let me know how you did in the market today. Please hit that like, subscribe button on your way out. Think about signing for the membership. Less than a McDonald's combo, and that's everything you get out of it. Put a nice little trade idea out today for the members. And so it paid off last year. Hopefully it pays off this year. So anyway, I'll end up seeing you guys tomorrow. So have a good one.